This is KUGAN CASSIUS for IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. It's Wayne Day. Brooke Khan, finally we're here, Matt. Feels a bit weird, doesn't it?
Yeah, long overdue, but at least we're here now, I suppose.
Absolutely. Obviously some antics at the press conference yesterday, excuse me. Yeah, some borderline stuff. I suppose it could have been worse. I mean, these two have kind of got 8 years of kind of back and forths, and that you're condensing it into kind of one final week press conference.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like it was being quite courteous, and they just stuck to the boxing to start with. And then Khan obviously had a script because he looked down at his paper and it kind of came out of the blue. Then he goes, "Oh, and by the way, I've just got to ask Kell about, blah, blah, blah." He said this, and then it just erupted, didn't it, after that? It was tit for tat then. So, I suppose it was inevitable that was going to happen at some point if we're honest with ourselves.
I mean, you've seen the rivalries over the years, the more recent ones with Cole and George, etc. But this one has kind of been going for so long. And that fight that I'm not referring to Frotch and Groves, but that was kind of put together in a situation. This one has just been ongoing for 8 years, back and forths, slagging one another off. So, like you said, it was inevitable that kind of yesterday's content was going to be put out like that.
Yeah, probably even longer than that. It probably goes back 20 years to these two were in the amateurs together, and there was always that bitter rivalry. They probably felt at that point their paths were going to cross a lot sooner than it has, and it probably should have had. Well, it should have had, definitely not probably. There's no probably about it. They should have fought years ago. But the fact that it's gone on longer, there's just more ammunition against each other, isn't there? When it comes to because listen, we all live life and we all do things and we shouldn't have done or we regret, and you look back. But so they've got more ammunition to kind of throw at each other in a slagging match, and obviously that spilled over into yesterday's final press conference, which I think was inevitable, really.
Obviously the weigh-in today, by the time this goes out, obviously the weigh-in would have already have happened, but how important is what probably Kell Brook comes in at that kind of sways your decision maybe to what happens tomorrow night?
Yeah, what he comes in at and how he looks, because it's okay making a weight, but how badly does it hurt you to make that weight, and what does it take out away from you? And we all know that Kell has struggled to do 147. This is at 149, so you think, oh, he's got an extra couple of pounds. Yeah, but he's also hasn't boxed for nearly 18 months. It's not a world title on the line. Did he have 1 foot in retirement? Was he hovering around waiting to see what came? Is the ambition there, or is the ambition not there for boxing anymore, but there is for this fight? Because it's kind of like, who's the cock of the walk, isn't it? You know what I mean? Who's the hardest in the year? It's like this is the bragging rights, isn't it? And it'll be unbearable for the loser. I remember Joe Calzaghe years ago. He hadn't long retired. We were having, I think it was at the Boxing Awards or something. We were chatting, and he was at that point where there were a few big fights out there for him. And I said, what about this, that, and the other? What this fight? And he said, do you know what, Matt? He said, after going that long undefeated, the thought of losing was just unbearable. And I think the thought of losing this fight to both men is unbearable. And we're at the weigh-in. The weigh-in will have happened when this goes out. Is Kell Brook going to make 149, or is he going to think, do you know what? I'm getting plenty of dough for the fight. I don't care if I've got to throw a few quid away and I've got to come in a couple of pounds over the contracted weight. It ain't a world title. I ain't going to get stripped. I'm going to lose a title shot. It's not a final eliminator. You know what I mean? It's just this fight. So all he'll be losing is the money. Now, don't get me wrong. To normal people are going to think, well, 100 grand for a pound, that's substantial. It is. But if you've already done £6 or £7 in a hot bath or a sauna, let me tell you, a pound is a lot. And it could, him just having that bit of extra strength or endurance on the night could be the difference in winning and losing.
Well, the weigh-in is going to be in about an hour and a half, and I think, everyone's kind of curious to see, especially what Kell comes in at. So, are you going to come out of retirement for Chris EUBANK then? Let's talk about that. I do want to ask you about Chris EUBANK's tweet he put out regarding your scoring of his win over Liam Williams. First of all, when you saw that, what was kind of going through your head? What did you make of what he was saying?
First of all, I thought I didn't really think anything in bad. I just thought, look, fighters are going to be sensitive. They felt. Look, he obviously thought he was winning those rounds to I think he must have thought he was winning those rounds to do so little and to switch off and just coast. But even though Liam Williams wasn't like dominating him in those rounds, he was pressing the fight, and I thought he was landing more punches. So, you know, like I said to him in the tweet, you know, looking the part doesn't win rounds, landing punches wins rounds, and you know, they were razor thin, don't get me wrong. Like, I thought about those last two of it. The first four, those middle four, I thought he lost. He just didn't do anything. The last two were razor thin. I probably could have gone 10-10, but I just leaned to Williams because he pressed it and pressed it. You know, and punches landed, there was probably nothing in it, but he was pressing the action where Chris was moving and being defensive, and then there's kind of running away a little bit, and at times he just didn't do anything, and he ran away a little bit. So even though he was never in danger of losing the fight, I did feel that he threw those rounds away, and it was more frustrating than anything, I think, because for the fans as well, I bet they were thinking, why doesn't he step on the gas here and go through the gears? Because he did look like he was in control, but he wasn't doing anything, so I couldn't give him the round. So look, the fact that he tweeted me, I just went back and said, look, you know, looking the part don't win rounds, punches landing wins rounds, and then I've just left it at that.
Oh, it's always the case. Obviously, they're in the fight, so they're not kind of seeing that immediately. I suppose people tell them afterwards when they come out of the ring. They're curious to know what were the TV scorecards, and I suppose, yeah, that was his opinion.
I think what happens as well is, I think, you know, because he was so far in front, and because he dropped Williams 3 times in the first 4 rounds, and it looked like, oh, he's going to knock him out now. He's so on top. I think people automatically then start watching all the work of EUBANK. So they'll think, oh, he's coasting, he's pissing it. But he was coasting, but he wasn't pissing it because he wasn't landing punches, so he wasn't winning the round. So, like I say, it was more a case. It wasn't that Williams did anything special in those rounds. He didn't. He just did more. And from EUBANK's point of view, I felt he just threw them away. There were rounds he could have won by just doing a bit more that he let go. And even though he was so far ahead, he was never going to lose the fight. But, you know, you don't want to be switching off like that. I think what he needs to learn from that is, you know, if you've got a guy hurt and you're winning like that, step on the gas, close out the show, get the job done.
Okay, so there's no beef.
No, too old for beef.
Matt, thank you very much for talking to IFL TV, as always. Yeah, we look forward to seeing the weigh-in today, and then tomorrow night, there's only one place to be, in SDA Arena in Manchester, or at home, obviously, watching it on Sky Sports box office.
Absolutely, I can't wait. Long time coming, overdue, but at least we're here now.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Matt MACKLIN.